Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for checking in. All right, just making sure I see some sound on the meter. I left both windows open. You might get a little bit of road noise. Sorry about that. I'm going to give you a quick swing out here today. We are by the beach in Port St. Louis, California. I'll take you outside in just a second. And for those that aren't really familiar with the Adventure Limo, I'll probably point you around just a little bit in here after a while. Yeah, I can't show you everything from here. But first, I just want to check in for a few minutes, give you guys an update. Oh, it says I've only been live for a few seconds, so if the first part of this got cut off, sorry about that. So yesterday was great for me, boy. I think we're out of the cold and the rain. We're past the slow season, and we're on the upswing now after some challenges. But I never give up, man. That's one thing I've gone through life. There's plenty of times where I probably should have given up, but I just don't until it's way past the point. And there's not going to be a point of giving up on this mission. So first, let me just kind of take you around and show you where we're set up today. And then we'll talk a little bit about kind of some insight and thoughts I've had on delayed gratification and how it applies to life in general and ways that we can really build what we want out of this life. So let me take you outside real quick. Again, I'm on the laptop. I can't hardly see what you're seeing when I get out there, but I just want you to kind of get an idea where the office is today. I'm going to start setting up outside, with my little table and doing these things outdoors, but we're just getting some momentum, figuring things out along the way here. I'd set you down here, but you'd be at an angle, so just kind of other cool thing. We're running high-speed Wi-Fi, unlimited. We got the solar panel power in that. Oh, it's powering the battery that powers it. So, you can actually do things like this, guys. You can turn this into your office if you start to change. Understand what's really important to you. Understand that I think for a lot of us, freedom is more important than objects and debt, and that freedom can actually allow us the ability to build to way more prosperity. Oh, there we go. Dropped my glasses and got myself a case of sunburnt eyes yesterday, photokeratosis. So I stuck those on the door so I'd make sure not to go outside without them. And instead I just dropped them on the ground. I gotta remember to put those on later. I'd love to go back to the Jeep. I'd love to go back to the beach, but I'm a little worried that my eyes are still healing up from yesterday. So delayed gratification. Well, this is, I have kind of an interesting perspective, and there's, I think, a lot of value in this message for anyone who's out there still pursuing something a little bit greater for themselves, seeking purpose, have some growth or goals in progress, and you aren't there. And it's, really truly understanding and believing in delayed gratification. And that's it, which is counterintuitive to today's clip culture of everything's quick and you get your payoff quick, and you blow up on TikTok quick, or you get crypto and you're an overnight millionaire. And there's a lot of I got people walking here. Part of the fun of being live in the real world. So there can be a lot of downfalls to that too. I mean, I'm starting to understand now that having some real struggle, having to overcome, having to succeed is a really important thing. And you see something like Sam Bankman-Fried that can play with millions or billions of dollars, but doesn't even understand the value, the amount of man hours of what people's lives they gave up for those numbers for him to play around with. I just see that there's something way greater on the other side of challenges and hardships in life. And that's where people build success from, where they should, where things should work out that way. You know, you don't go and get in the best shape of your life with big muscles and no fat in 90 days, no matter how much they want to sell you products for that. Same way with financial success or any other success in life. Or these are the conclusions I'm coming to. Look at me. I've succeeded in certain ways, but not in others. But it's in progress. So, you know, coming from a world influenced by the boomers, the values of go to high school. For me, it was go to high school, go to college, get a career, get your student loans, get your 401k, go into debt on a car and a house, be consistent for 40 years, hopefully be comfortable and safe the last handful of years of your life. And I think for a long time, it worked well. You know, people did get back what they felt was an equitable amount of buying power, ability to have a home, support a family, you know, just live a life somewhat free of financial anxiety. And that's pretty much gone today for almost anybody. And some of that is absolutely cultural. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're making 30,000 or 300,000 a year, you're still going to be living paycheck to paycheck. So I've said it before, there's something wrong with the way we're thinking and doing things right now. Our values are a bit off. You know, and I've come to a position where I'm starting to, I think, have values that are probably more in alignment with younger generations overall. But I'm still a little bit dumbfounded at times as I start to really see the light. I start to feel more like I actually understand the big picture and feel just, I don't want to say enlightened, but I feel some enlightenment coming upon me, you know, in my views of the world and of life and what joy and happiness are and success and fulfillment. And it doesn't all come in a 5-bed, 3-bath house like I was so fortunate to grow up in. You know, to me, and I think to a lot of younger people, they're starting to see, well, I can go and give up all of these hours and cumulative years and decades of my life and trade for dollars. But what I get back out of exchanging those dollars for isn't really worth all the time and energy and effort I'm giving up anymore. And I think a lot of the boomers do see that. You know, I had a a customer a while back, and he said his quote, we were kind of talking about life today. You know, he asked me how much I was making and if I had a college degree, and I was waiting tables, and yeah, I was making more waiting tables than I would have done using my degree. And he had kind of mentioned what, you know, the boomers had really messed up everybody's cultural, you know, values. Needing stuff so much, consumerism, consume, buy, spend, go into debt, have stuff, keep up with the Joneses. You know, and as I've gone through my different challenges in life, I've found things that do provide fulfillment, things that make me excited to wake up in the morning and get busy, things that produce an equitable result for my time and energy. I mean, the gym's one of those. You know, I eat right. I get in there consistently. I do good, hard work. I do it intensely. And over the last 2.5 years, it's been paying off like crazy. And now it's not going to stop. I've developed this. I'm 2.5 years in. Give me 25, 30 more years. Let's go. And that's the same way with this YouTube. You know, I just got to get started because I know that this brand, this vision right here that I have is going to become my livelihood. It is going to allow me to escape the matrix, to stop having to depend on other people to sell my hours for their dollars that they then mark up. You know, I'm not going to allow somebody else to tell me this is the value of my life, because those hours, that is my life. I am literally selling my life to somebody else so that I can do what they tell me to and do it when and how they say and be here and there when they tell me to. So to me, I could have the biggest, most amazing house, the most awesome car, and a whole bunch of money coming in with big debt, and I'm miserable. I'm failing at life. That's not what I want for myself at all. At the same time, if I have more money coming in, let's say I've got $1,000 more a month coming in than going out, but I own the land that I'm on. I own the house I'm in. I've got a well. My vehicle's paid off. Hopefully I've got an electric vehicle that I'm generating mostly solar for at that time. I'm completely unplugged. I don't have the same amount of stuff, but I'm fulfilled. I'm content. Nobody's telling me where I have to be and what I have to do. I'm generating my own income. I'm completely self-sufficient. I could have a 1-bedroom mobile home on a lot that's a couple acres out in the middle of nowhere, but be 100% self-sufficient and disconnected. And that to me is 1,000 times bigger flex than having the baddest car and the biggest house and a big old mortgage and a whole bunch of debt, and to be having to go into your fancy job and, you know, be accountable to the board and have people tell you this and that, and you got to be here at this time. And guess what? I'm going to be wherever you would be. Somebody's going to tell you to be there working for them. Well, I'm going to be there earlier working for myself. But if they tell me to be there working for them, yeah, I'll show up 5 minutes early. I'm working for myself. I'm there 2 hours early, ready to rock, getting things done. Not everybody is supposed to work for somebody else. And that's the thing. I've started to develop this mindset that goes away from scarcity of, oh my gosh, I have to make this much to get through the month. I have to make sure that my income doesn't stop and everything has to be dependable. And I have to have quid pro quo. I do this, I get that. And starting to just truly believe in myself and know that the skills that I have and the drive that I have and the capabilities that I have are far more valuable both to myself and the world than just using little bits and pieces while somebody else tells me what small amount of all this amazing stuff I bring to the table I get to actually implement, and then go get trained in and do a bunch of TPS reports and emails and who knows whatever other crap that anybody else can do. I have no value, but to me, but now I got to spend hours of my life doing for them. Yeah, that's it's not the right setup for me, and I'm not hating on it for anyone who having that structure provided to you works and you've got the life that you want, and no matter what, you know, you're going to get through. Like the economy stops working, some other weird situation happens like in the past, like you're going to be fine. Go for it. But man, for anybody that is, you know, has the potential of, you know, you've got good income, a nice place, a mortgage, but that could come to a stop at some point and you can't replace it. It's a pretty big level of anxiety that I wouldn't want to live with. So I don't know. I have to figure out how to word all this stuff because honestly, I haven't made it. I think I'm in the middle of something really cool. I think a lot of you guys will be able to either look back on this years to come and see what I've done with this and really, you know, be inspired by it, or just enjoy watching the journey along as it goes. But I guess I'm not here to actually tell people what they should do or think, but I hope provide some insight and where I've gotten to and have you watch it work for me and then make your own decision. So delayed gratification was supposed to be the subject of today, and I just started on some tangents. But basically, you know, I was real fortunate to come up in a place where there were opportunities to get jobs. You know, I was handing out newspapers, mowing lawns when I was little. My family taught me since I was real small, hey, you know, go to these little chores. We'll give you pennies here. You can add up, get yourself the Hot Wheels you wanted. You know, they made it a fun game when we were young. Taught us really well. By the time I was in high school, I was making a ridiculous amount of money doing telemarketing. It probably was, I can't even imagine being my parents at that time. The amount of money I was making at this part-time job with no expenses, it wasn't right. So I learned delayed gratification really well, but it was always within this framing of scarcity, of depending on somebody else to provide a certain amount of money within a given period of time, and that you had to have that for everything else. You had to have that to have your health insurance. Without those, you can't do anything. If that comes in and oh, it's crazy. Why? If you're going to do anything outside of that, you got to have everything lined up and perfect and working and dialed in and funded. And that mindset of scarcity is something that can paralyze you if it's something that's been ingrained into you from the culture of previous generations and everything you're around and everything in society and everything on TV and the way that people value jobs from an employer, career from an employer. Hey, buddy. So terribly highly, and allow others to be the ones who are really the gatekeepers to whether you're even going to be able to pay your bills or not. So I learned that really well, but something that was really interesting. I got into Audible. Check below this video. Hopefully I've got my affiliate link set up. And I got this book I've gone through. I haven't made it quite through twice yet, but I'm in the middle of it again. It was real interesting, by a guy named Mark Manson. It was called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a, I'll put in the F word there. I'm not going to get my YouTube muted, or whatever they do. And this guy basically, it sounded like his life was the same as mine. He was born within a year or two of me, went through middle school, high school, where I had all my little troubles around 8th, 9th grade. I got myself in trouble. This guy did too. And he mentioned something really interesting to me. Okay, so I come from a family of educators. They're all over the place in the family, especially on my mom's side, generations and generations, and niece or uncles and aunts, and everybody's in education. So this mindset of getting a resume and then selling our hours for dollars, for hopefully the most dollars we can, doing something we want. It's as ingrained into this family as the oxygen we breathe. So it's taken me a really long time to start seeing that there's different stuff, as long as I have this other element of true self-belief. So let me get back to this. Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Blank. He explained to me that throughout the time that my parents grew up, through the 60s and 70s, and in education, there was this concept that self-esteem was really important for people's success. So they wanted to build everybody up all the time, no matter what. Tell everybody they're great, really build that self-esteem. Well, I came from a family of educators that grew up during that time with this concept that was probably subconsciously just really in their brains as well, to build that self-esteem all the time. Well, I start realizing as I'm older, the reason I kept getting hurt in action sports was because I thought I was better than I was, and I kept doing bigger and crazier things than I was supposed to. The reason business blew up in my face was I wasn't actually ready. I thought I was bigger and better than I was, and there was a whole lot of things I was missing. It's interesting that this whole concept of self-esteem, if you haven't actually earned it, I think can be very detrimental. And I can tell that had hurt me, because I thought I was better than I was at a whole lot of stuff. And, I'm a college graduate, I've got a degree, I should be this and that. Guess what? You got to pay your dues. And this world doesn't reward those with the best self-esteem. It rewards those with the thickest skin and the hardest work ethic and the resilience and the willingness to not give up. Not the most talent, not the most self-esteem, the most resilience and the most dedication and consistency and the willingness to keep pushing no matter what. And then you have to be smart enough to make sure that what you're pushing towards is achievable and what you want. And in the past, I had some amazing successes, some huge potential, some substantial deficits, some really big blowouts. And I could write books upon books with the knowledge that I've obtained, but none of that matters until it's been applied, until I benefit from it. And what I've gotten is all the hard knocks and all the lessons. And I'm just now getting to the point where I've been able to package these together to where I can make them actually work to my advantage. But I had to pay my dues. I had to go through my hardships. I had to learn my lessons. I had to have my downtimes. I had to get stronger. I had to develop that self-belief, because that's a problem when you have self-esteem and you make, I think I'm so great, but I didn't have the results from actually being awesome, from actually succeeding with my business, from actually being amazing with the action sports I was doing, and not just getting myself hurt because I was crazy enough to do big, crazy things that I thought I was too good. And so now, I'm doing what I can with what I have. I'm a professional video producer with 2 decades of experience. For most of that time, I've been building a business that was based in internet marketing. I've worked for companies that do internet marketing. I've got all these different skills, and they're being just cherry picked in bits and pieces for other people to make money off of. And I'm totally capable of doing all this stuff for myself. So now, instead of focusing on self-esteem from being told I'm so great, the self-esteem is coming from dropping a whole bunch of weight, staying consistent in the gym, having a vision to make it out to the West Coast, building a 4x4 camper I can live anywhere in, learning how to make some really good money doing stuff that's maybe kind of humble, but I'm making a whole lot more money, bringing dreams to fruition. That's a whole different thing. And with the understanding that delayed gratification is how you get where you want to go. Nothing that's worthwhile comes quick. And I've always known that. But the path of getting there has been really, really blurry. But motion creates clarity. And that's been a big part of all this. Just start moving and things will start to work themselves out. So I started moving. I spent 5.5 months in the cold and rain living in the back of a car. And now look at what my office is. I got Wi-Fi in here. I'm getting paid. I'm about to go out and work at a beer concession stand on a pier at a tourist destination for 15, 20 hours a week, making 40, 50 bucks an hour, handing people beers. Just here's a can of beer. Thanks for the tip. Next. There's other ways to do the things we want than just sell our souls to debt and employers. And if things were as equitable for me and my generation as those past, I probably never would have come to this conclusion, because things were good enough, they were comfortable enough that you did want to go ahead. You could live the life that you wanted to live. You had to save, you had to pinch pennies here and there, but you could do it. You can't do it anymore. I mean, how in the world is a normal person going to get out of college, start a career, and be able to take vacations, own a home, have a car? It's a joke. So I couldn't find an employer where I could produce videos sitting in a place like this. So I decided to start doing it for myself. Now I'm getting ready to go out and do another video here in just a minute. This one's live. Now I'm going to go out and do a vlog. Hopefully I can protect my eyes from the sun, man. I'd love to get back out to the beach today. And, this has just been a bit more of a ramble than anything else. I don't expect anybody to actually check these out. I'm glad if you did. Thanks for coming along on the journey. This part is to get my hands dirty. The adventure videos are where it's at, guys. Check out the adventure videos. That's the whole purpose of this, but you're going to see a whole lot of content coming from me. Some of it's going to stick. Some of it will be awesome. Some of it will stink. Some of it will get viewed. I don't really care. I'm just going to keep going. Because what's the other option? I spent 20 years trying to figure this life out after college. And if I'm going to do what they tell me, I'm going to spend the next 30 or 40 years miserable and unfulfilled, probably go back to drinking, and then I'll die. And what impact did I have on the world? Here, I'm going to have a real impact on the world. I'm going to have a good life for myself. I'm going to bring good into the world. And there's absolutely positively no limits to this. I mean, if what I've done in 6 months with my life, what I've done in 6 months with my sobriety, what I've done in 2.5 months with my health, or 2.5 years. I mean, just imagine what I'll do in another 6 months or 2.5 years or 5 or 10 years, because now I believe in myself enough to know that everything I have is within me. I don't need somebody else to keep me fed. I don't need somebody else to tell me what to do or how to live my life. I am going to figure all this out no matter what, because my vision, my dream, my goal is to be disconnected, to be free, to be self-sufficient, and not have to sell my hours, my life, and my soul to somebody else just so they can mark up my time and I can get old and have nothing left. So, guys, thanks for following along on the mission. Everybody that's taking the time to come along on the journey, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all for taking the time to watching this, and make sure you subscribe and come along, because this might be just a little sliver. Maybe this video gets 2 views, but I'll be able to look at it in a decade and go, dang, look at what's happened. Look at where I came from. Look how it all started. You guys take care. Thanks again. We'll catch you next time.